Good Mayir, a good Kvittel for all those learning this daf together with us on Hoshana Rabbah on Erev Yontif. This is Shabbos, the first day. Shmini Atzeres is daf. Today's learning should be a schus for Chenkin Yeski, Shmayo Yosef Chaim ben Pesha Miriam, as well as all our other Chaylim Yudemir ben Ikeri, Menu ben Mechayo Chaim ben Mechanigita Chaim ben Sarshal Sibin Ezel Sarvas Kenendel, Ita Basiyam as Chaysev Yusuf Chaim ben Sarasi Yusuf ben Mindel. As the President of Revelation, Bas Nami which are Vegim Chaner of Daven Yitariv, the Neil ben Chaner Ezel Chaim ben Nachman ben Mindel. As always, we're going to try to get this daf up before Yontif, and the daf for the second day, Simchas Torah's daf, probably on Matzah Yontif. Again, just a reminder to check all the different platforms. Sometimes some post earlier than others. Let's pick it up from the new parak, the sixth parak. What a wonderful way to start off almost the new year as we restart the Torah anew on Shmini Atzeres, on Simchas Torah. Let's begin a new parak as we forge into the latter half of Eruvin. Hadarim akum b'chatzer, someone who's living with an akum and a chatzer, the halachas of shitov mevuayis, eruv chatzeros, that you have a chatzer, you have multiple people in the chatzer. We pointed out yesterday the classic case. You go away, you're in a hotel somewhere, you think, what do you mean? It's an enclosed hotel, I could carry. No, that's not pashut at all, because it might be a closed hotel, it might be Rosh Yachid, but there's many people that have a Rishus here. You have a Rishus in this hallway, and the Goyim have their Rishus in this hallway also, so you won't be allowed to carry in the hallway unless you do something about it. That is this case. Hadarim akam b'chatzer. You and that person are living together in a chatzer. If someone does not admit to the Erev, love, he asks on you, you're not allowed to carry in the chatzer. It's only going to answer if you have two Jews and one guy inside that hallway, inside that chatzer. There was one Saduki that lived with us in a Mavui in Yerushalayim, and this Saduki said it's okay, you could use the Erev, seemingly giving up his rights, which seemingly would be okay, because now it's just us, the Jews here, everything should be good. Our father taught us, Maru, quickly, quickly on Shabbos, go and take out that which you need before the Stuki comes out and uses the Erev. As soon as he uses the Mavoi, as soon as he starts carrying in the Mavoi, it's going to ask for the rest of us. Slightly different, that he told us, Maru Vasar Cheichem b'Mavoi, go do your needs, meaning before Shabbos, quickly clear out the area, actually, before he starts using it, and he's going to answer it on you. We'll see what this means in the Gemara. Moving along to Samach Beis, Amar Aleph, Yosef, Abaye, Baravin, Rav China, Baravin, they're all sitting and they said, let's figure out what's going on over here. You're in the chatzar, a guy's in the chatzar, the guy has ownership, the guy doesn't have ownership, so says Gemara, let's figure it out. Is the dira of a guy considered a dira as he's living there, considered a living? Says the Gemara. Who of course is the Tanakama, because our dira is the living of a guy is considered living. And the first opinion, the Mishnah did not differentiate whether it was one Jew, whether there's two Jews. I understand that. Why? Because the guy is called having a dira, having an ownership there. You, the Jew, have an ownership there. Therefore, that's the clash. That's the issue. Elazar ben Yaakov, according to the second opinion of the Mishnah, Micah Savar, what exactly does he hold? If he holds that the guy living there is called that he has an ownership, he has a rights living there, so why does he need two people? Even just me, the Jew, and that guy, it should also aser. And if the guy is living here is not called having rights, then even two Jews, it shouldn't be aser because the guy has no rights over here. So ask the Gemara, what is this opinion of Elazar ben Yaakov that says that if there's two Jews and one guy, that's when you have the issue? Amrlu Abaye responded, before Abaye actually answers the question, Abaye says, 1 second. You're telling me that according to Tanakama, according to Rameir, the living of a guy is called a living? There's a chatzar, a courtyard of a guy, it's considered like a stable of an animal, seemingly, meaning he has no rights. It's just like an animal living there. So why are you telling me that Rameir holds that a guy living there is considered like he has ownership there? Ella says, Gemara, you're right. The Kuli Alma, important rule, Diras Akum Lo Yishma Dira. The living of a guy in a Rishos is not called a living. That is not going to be the problem over here. V'halcha, a new issue. B'gzeira Shema Yilma M'maisav. There's a new problem over here. We're afraid that you're going to come to learn from the actions of the guy. Kamifliki, that is the machlekes. As you see over here in Rashi, al Kuliyam alav shmeidira al mishum gezira shemayilmad Yisrael mimayser lakum etrichua v'fsidua chacham the Yisrael hadar yimai. The Chazal came along and created a takana. Chazal came and removed your rishos. Chazal created a hardship for you. Chazal said if you live with only Jews in your chutzner, you could carry. But since there's a guy here and you might come learning from his ways, say Chazal, you're not allowed to carry that chutzner. You know why? Rashi continues, Kadesha Yiksha Be'in of Litin Schar, Shabbos. We want to make it difficult. We don't want you every Shabbos to go and rent the area from the guy, the Yatzim Misham, and we want you to go move out of there while you're living with Goyim. That is the Gezira, Gazvina Le Yisrael Yachad Adar Makom. That is going to be the machlekes back into the Gemara. Sham Yilma Mimayisav Kamifli. Vlaz ben Yaakov Savar. Kivan Davik Chavim. Choshet Ashvichas Tamim. Since Goyim are prone to killing people. Trey. So when there's two Jews, the Shichi, the Dairi, Kazibu. It's two Jews, they already feel confident, they're not worried the guy's going to attack them. So they might go live in a courtyard with a guy. Therefore we make a gzeira and we say, don't live there. And if you live there, you're not allowed to carry in that chutzner. We want to make it difficult for you. However, but one Jew, which one Jew is going to in his right mind live in the same courtyard as the guy? He's afraid he's going to kill him. So they're not going to make a gzeira. For Hameir Samar, Zimdin, the Mikri Vidayer, it might happen that a Jew will end up living in the same courtyard as a non-Jew. Therefore, Chazal created this gzeira, until you rent the area from the guy. So that is the Ache Yaschir, until you rent the area from the Goyim, and says the Gemara, the Akum loy mugar, and the Akum is not able to rent it. My taima. What is the reason that the Akum is not going to be able to rent it? Elim, I was saying before, I'm sorry, we sort of shiggle ran through a stop sign. Before Amar Rabbanan. Again, that's the machlekes. Meir Savar Zimnin the Mikri V'Dayer. There are times that you'll end up living there. So again, very important. The Gemara is answering that the Kuli Alma Diras Akum loy Shema Dira. Everyone is in agreement the fact that the guy lives in the same courtyard as you. It's not called that the guy has an ownership. It's not called the guy has rights here. It's not called me and you, me and two people living here that I have to go rent the rishos from him. So what's the reason? Why if I live in the same courtyard as the guy, can I not carry? Gzeira dirabanan. What's the Gzeira dirabanan? We do not want Jews living in the same courtyard as non-Jews, and therefore Chazal came along with their infinite wisdom and said, you every week are going to have to go and rent the rights from the guy in order to carry in that courtyard, if you want to carry in that courtyard, to prevent you, to impede you from living in the same area as that guy. So what's the machlekes Tanakama, the Mishnah of Meir and Rav ben Yaakov? The machlekes is, do we make this gezerah on a singular person? Rav ben Yaakov says it's not normal for one singular Jew to live in the same courtyard as a guy, because Gayim are chashach, they might come and kill you. Therefore, we never made the gezerah. On two Jews, we made the gezerah. Where it says Rav Meir, no, it could have happened sometimes that one Jew will end up living in the same courtyard as a guy, and therefore we make the gezerah. Now, back into the Gemara. Now the Gemara explains what exactly is this gezerah. The Rabbanan said, that an Eruv is not going to work. You're not going to be able to just simply make an Eruv. And the guy cannot just give away the rights to his Rishos. Until what do you need to do? Until you rent the rights from the guy. And the Oivik Gachavim is not going to want to rent away his rights, and that's going to create the difficulty, and that's where you're going to move away. That was the Gezeirah D'Rabbanan. Now the Gemara explains. My time. What's the reason? What is the reason that a guy's not going to rent it out? They want money. You go to your neighbor, knock on his door. John, can I give you $5 for your rights to the chutzner so I could carry her? Why would John say no? He just made $5. Says the Gemara. My time. Why would he not do that? Maybe the guy is nervous, you're coming to steal his property, you're going to take away his land. So 1 second, there's a fundamental machlekes. How do you rent the rights from the guy? That's good according to the Mandamar that holds this machlekes. What type of renting do you need? Do you need to have a good type of renting? Then I understand. The guy's nervous. You're actually starting to do a real rental ship. You're actually starting to move things in over there. Fine. That you need a week renting. You just need a token renting, just almost like a show that you're renting from him. Michael Amemar, what's the problem? Why wouldn't the guy do that to you? He's making $5. Says the Gemara, the Itmar, as we learned, Rav Chisda Amar, Schiras Brira, Rav Shishis Amar, Schiras Rua, that is the machlekes. The Gemara is bothered. 1 second. You just told me the guy's not going to want to rent away his rishos. Why not? If you have to give a good rental, I hear. But if you have to give a cheap rental, just $1 token, why not? Says the Gemara, okay, 1 second. My ruya, my bria. What exactly is this machlekes? Rav Chisda and Rav Shishis, how you rental rights from the guy. If you're going to tell me what's a bria, good rentals, you give the guy $1. What is a ruya, weak rental? He's going to pachas of pruta. 1 second. Does anyone argue? Is there any debate that pachas of pruta doesn't work from a guy? Of course it does. And seemingly that's a conclusive point that everyone agrees that you could rent from a guy with a value of less than a Shava Pruta. Goyim are not allowed to steal even the smallest quantity. The whole concept of allowance, that we don't get punished for stealing a Shava Pruta, is only by Jews. But a guy even Bachs Shava Pruta is a problem. And they're not even allowed to return it. So says the Gemara, I don't understand. What is the machlekes, whether you need a good rental or a not good rental? Everyone seemingly should concur that even less than a Shava Pruta will suffice. Ella says the Gemara, you're right. You know what the machlekes of Chesta and Rav Sheshes, whether what type of rental you need. What does it mean, bria? What does it mean, a formal, a good rental? Is that you're going to fill up the whole chutzner with benches and with chairs, and you're going to actually use the chutzner. Ru'uya, what is a cheap? What is a token rental? They're not going to actually use the area. Fine. So that was the machlekes of Chisda and Rav Sheshes. Whether you can actually use the area, you're going to have to move in your stuff. So now back to our original question. So and I understand. Now it's very logical that the guy might not want to rent it to you. He might not want to let you start moving in all your benches and your chairs into his chutzner. Michael Amemar, why would the guy have any issue renting it to you? Says the Gemara, the goyim, they're worried. They don't know what's going on over here. And the truth is, anyone who's ever tried to do one of these Erev Chatzeres, you tell the guy, let me just give you $1, I'm renting the rights from you. What are you doing over here? What are you trying to play games with me? And that's sort of what the answer of the Gemara over here, that they're nervous that you're paying them, you're doing kishuf, and that's why they might not do it. And that was the gezerah, why we want a Jew to rent from a guy, to force him into a difficult situation so he doesn't live in that area. And why won't the guy rent it to the Jew if it's just a token? The answer is because the guy must suspect that what are we doing? We're pulling some black magic on them. That is the end of this brisa. And as we go along, we'll hopefully speak out. That's really the fundamental of how this whole Erev Chatzeres business works, is that you have to rent the right from the guy. Gufa, now let's go into the brisa. Chatzira Shalakum, or 7 lines to the bottoms of the Chalif Aminov. Salch Beis Aminov. Chatzira Shalakum Areu Kedir Shal Behima. We said a moment ago at the top of the Amud that the Chatzir Benakum is like a corral of an animal that he has no rights there. And you're allowed to carry from the chutzes of the houses and if there's one Jew, that was a Tanakama, one Jew, one guy, you can't carry there. Until you have 2 Jews hanging out with that one guy. Moving along time in base. Amar Mar says Mar. Now we're going to dissect the brisa. 1 second. Why are you telling me that the guy is nothing? It's like an animal. We learned that if you live in the same area as the guy, you're not allowed to carry there. Answers the Gemara, like Kasha, Hadi Isa, Adalesa. Fundamental, is the guy home for Shabbos or not? When the guy is home for Shabbos, that's when his being there impedes your movement in the chutzner, and that's when it's an issue. Hadalesa, when the guy's not actually there, that's when we said it's going to be like a behema, and you're going to be allowed to carry there. Says the Gemara, Micah Savar. Another fundamental machlekes. What is the halacha with regard to a dira living when the owner isn't there? If you hold that living when you're not there, dira b'loi bailim shema dira, afilu hakam nami niser. So what's the difference? Then the guy should also be should answer on you even if he's not there. And if you're going to tell me that it's not considered an ownership, so then the other way shouldn't answer. Answers the Gemara, really, living there without an owner is not called living there. Be Israel, but when it comes to a Jew, when he's not there, it's a gezira derabanan. Akom, when it comes to a guy, the chiisa, gezira, the whole enactment, the whole point, the whole issue, we should say, with living in the same rishos of a guy, is all one big zira derabanan, like we just saw a few moments ago. That we want to make it that you're not too comfortable living in the same chatzar of a guy. Since it's all zira derabanan, shamayilma v'maisav, you might learn from his actions. Ki yisei aser. So when the guy is actually home for Shabbos, then we say, okay, it's forbidden. We don't want you living with the guy. Ki leisei lo aser. But he's not there. We don't make that decree. So again, when it comes to a Jew, we're going to make it aser whether you and another Jew, unless you rent the right from him, unless you join together in this year of Chatzeros, whether he's there or not. When it comes to a guy, it's only going to be when he's there. Why? Because the whole reason is a gezir you might learn from him, which only exists when the guy is home for Shabbos. Says the Gemara, what's going on over here? You're telling me when the guy is not home, it doesn't answer? We saw this a few days ago. So he leaves his house and he goes to live in another city. Whether it's a Jew or even a guy, also Tivira Meir. So we see that when it comes to a guy, even when he's not home on Shabbos, it answers all the other people in the Chatzar. Says the Gemara, Hasan the Asi. That's a different case over here. That case is when he's going to return back home. He just goes to the house a few doors down, and he's going to return back home. That's the reason why it's going to be an issue. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel halacha kavlas ben Yaakov. The halacha is like kavlas ben Yaakov in the Mishnah, which is what? That if you have two Jews and one guy, that's when we have this gzeir d'rabbanan that you can carry. But one Jew and one guy, there's no gzeir d'rabbanan. Rav Huna Amar Minok Kavlas ben Yaakov. So again, the first way the Gemara said it was halacha is like Kavlas ben Yaakov. We'll see in a moment how Rashi differentiates between the minor nuances between halacha and minok. Rav Huna says the minok is like Kavlas ben Yaakov. Rav Yochanan says Nagu Am Kavlas ben Yaakov. The people were accustomed like Rav Lazar ben Yaakov. So says Rashi. Let's look at Rashi over here. What's the difference? This should ring a little bit of a bell. We had a very similar wording game a few 10 blot ago. Says the Rashi halacha. We're about 7 lines before the white lines in Rashi. Darshina and love appear in the rabbim. What does it mean? Halacha. Halacha means halacha. We get them in public. We tell everyone this is what you do. What does it mean? Minhag. Minhag means v'pirkalei darshina. We don't actually get up in public and darshan that. However, marina love lishal. If someone comes to ask us halacha l'maisa what to do, we're going to paskin that way. That is the second level down. And what is the next level down? Uman da'amar, Rashi continues, Nagu, arui namila mirina, we don't even paskin that way. Avali of the Eloi mechinon. But if there was a Rav that paskin that way, if people do that, we don't protest his actions. 3 different levels of severity in how we paskin like Rav Lazar ben Yaakov. Once we're on the topic, we're now going to begin quite a long discussion all the way into tomorrow's daf. Psak halacha, klali psak halacha. We'll just begin right now for a moment. Says the Gemara, Amarle Abayla Rav Yosef Kaimalan, Mishnah of Rav ben Yaakov Kavanaki. The Mishnah of Rav ben Yaakov is clean, is very pure, and that's why we paskin like him. V'amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel halacha Rav ben Yaakov. That's the psak halacha. Ma'ula rui makim rabbi. Are you allowed to paskin like that in front of your Rebbe? We know, of course, one is never allowed to give any psak halacha in front of his Rebbe. But they wanted to know, is Rav Lazar ben Yaakov so clear that he is the halacha that you're allowed to even paskin like him when your Rebbe is there? Amar lei. So he responded, absolutely not. Afilu biyasa bekuchsa. Even a simple halacha of an egg with kutach. I always asked Rav Chisda whenever his Rebbe Rav Huna was alive, and he never answered. Meaning, even the simplest of halacha, you're not allowed to paskin in front of your Rebbe. Of course, if the Rebbe gives you a shos, if the Rebbe says you can answer, if the Rebbe says send someone to the Talmud for a psak, is a different story. But in a place where the Rebbe is there, a Talmud is never allowed to paskin. Bar Abel Abayki Goin Megillas Tainis the Ksiva Mincha